How to use writing to develop your film vision. Filming happens all in the camera, right? Wrong. It happens way before you touch a camera. I'm sure all of you are aware with pre-production, of course. Like, that's where all of your ideas take shape and form. I'm going to talk about a pre-phase to all of that, or something that you can use throughout the process that is going to enhance your ideas and bring a whole other level to how you shape and craft your films. I'm talking about journaling. Whenever I have an initial idea, film or not, I go to the journal and I write down what I'm thinking. And while you're writing down, more ideas flow, right? It's like a water pump. The more you pump, the more water flows out. Ideas and motivation are very similar to that. When it comes to film, I'm thinking about, how does the film feel? Who are the characters in the film? What is the film trying to say? How long is the film? I'm starting to really craft the shape and form of the film through my journal. And this is a really safe space for that. You know, you don't have to bring these ideas to anybody else. If they're trash, they're trash. You don't got to use them, right? But this is a place where you can get your ideas, your initial ideas out on paper before you ever go into pre-production or go into filming. But you can also use it once you get into those processes. So in pre-production, you know, you have your official documents, your treatment, the thing that you're creating to show your film, the idea of what your film is. But your journal is always going to be that place where you can come back to and edit or revise or spitball new ideas. And at the same time, you can write about your own experience through your film. And one thing that is very clear is that good films often have the passion or the soul of the person making them embedded within the film, right? When they really truly care, it's evident. That's why movies with small budgets do so well, or TV shows, is because the people have a certain magic that's going into it. And I think that journaling can help foster that magic that goes into the filmmaking process. So you're writing about your own experience as you're doing this project. It might seem tedious, like, Nate, can't I just think these things and that's enough? Maybe. But I bet if you write about them, you're going to process through them faster. And what happens when you do that is, well, now your mind is open to new thoughts, new ideas. You're going to give your idea development a speed at which it couldn't exist without the writing practice. But you also got to produce something good. And that's the hard thing in this industry. You know, a lot of the times we're working within deadlines, but you still got to make something good. I think that if you're journaling in the morning, at night, on your lunch break, about the process and your ideas, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to start to get better ideas, and you're going to start to realize the faults within your current ideas, and it's going to propel you forward. This is a way to give yourself a bird's eye view over your project. When you're in film development, in the pre-production phase for your film, you're just so in the weeds of, like, this is what this character does, and this is what this character thinks, and this is their problem, and this is how they're going to solve it, and blah, 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 blah. But you're not looking at it from that 30,000 foot view. And journaling is actually going to force you to do that and to look at your project within that perspective, which is so great, because then you're not going to send it off to somebody who's going to tell you a bunch of obvious stuff you didn't think about. That may still happen. It happens to me all the time. I think every director should have a notebook, and so should a cinematographer, because one thing that's happening in the process of you making or writing a film is you may have some success. You may learn of a technique that worked really well for you, or you lit something a certain way, or you had these ideas and they came to you a particular way. When you journal and document your process, you then have them forever. They're not going anywhere. And you may forget. Let's say your next project is in a year from now. Well, shit, what did I do last time? You know what I mean? And now these are standard practices that become part of your process that's unique to you. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And that's how we see unique films pop up. It's like everybody now is good at making videos and film. And a lot of people are videographers, but not a lot of people are storytellers. And that's truly what you're trying to get better at here. And if you can identify a process that worked well for you, write it down and have it stick into your memory as, like, your framework for the rest of your film career. You're going to have a unique flair it is your own thing. And that's what the world needs right now. And that's what people need right now is individual voices, not mimicking the aesthetic of what's popular or not doing what has been done. I think there's value in that in terms of practice or whatever, getting your reps in. But the more that you can make your project and unique to you, the better. It's going to do so much for just It's going to do so much for more than just you. It's going to do so much for the film industry at large. And if you believe that through this process and you keep it with you, in 10 years from now, I guarantee you'll be a totally different filmmaker that you yourself couldn't even have pictured or fathomed, because you're taking the time to reflect on what you've been doing and doubling down on the intricacies that made it go well for you. The little things that you remember, the emotions that you felt. Those are the things you need to lock into place. And a journal is the perfect place to do that. I guess in a simpler way of saying it, like, your journal is a record of your creative development or your creative evolution. So is your work. Obviously, you watch your work back and you go, okay, I got better at this, this, and this. But this is a really detailed version of that. You can do this outside of your journal as well. You can get into specifics that are never going to make it into your draft or never going to make it in the materials that you send off for funding or to your client. I think this is a really great, safe place to explore your ideas without any criticism. Criticism is great. I'm not saying you don't want criticism, but what I am saying is, like, it's giving you the freedom to fuck up and have a bad idea, and then go, okay, obviously this didn't work out, but I had to write it out, and now I know. And the more you do that, the more you recognize, like, what stories are going to be good and what stories are going to be bad, what characters are going to be interesting, what characters aren't. And the journal can be a space for that as well. It should be obvious to you that you need to convey what your project is to other people, but it's a very hard thing to do. And just try it. Try creating a film project and boiling it down to one or two sentences that you can convey to another person and they understand it 100%. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. So I think oh my goodness, the buggies. I think journaling allows you to gain a lot of clarity in that respect. And then when you're on set, or you're in your meetings, you're going to have an easier time explaining to them. You're going to reduce the confusion about what it is that you're doing, because you'll have spent so much time and clarity that when people ask you questions, you have a very quick, decisive yes, no, or this is how this works, or this is what that person is doing in this scene, because you have a really great sense of what your project is, because you've taken the time to write about it. It gives you an opportunity to create your film's tones, the rules within that world, the timelines, the feeling, the energy, the climax, the conclusion, the beginning. All of this stuff can really take root in the journaling process. To some of you, this is going to feel like extra work, and it is that, right? You have to find time to do this in your busy life. But if you can find the time to keep a director's journal or director's notebook and commit yourself to writing down the things that are working well for you, I guarantee it will help you become a better filmmaker. It'll help you stand out from the masses. And it will give you a framework that's yours, that nobody else has. And that is so invaluable today. Man, everybody wants to be the same person. In a world where everyone wants to be the same person, just be yourself, because this is what we need. This is what storytelling needs. Not every entry in your journal has to become a project. And that this is a safe place for you to get your ideas out on paper, whether or not anybody ever sees them, that they get the light of day. This is your space, and your space alone. And don't underestimate the power of that. Cheers.